I was like, no, I think we should put that out first. And he just had to be like, no, we're going to put that out first.
Was that a moment of contention when you were like, it's the first single is Skin and he said Human?
I think I trusted him. I was like, you've been doing this a long time. You probably know better than me about this sort of stuff.
You're a fan of the concept album though?
I am.
Like a cohesive piece of work.
I like that, and that's what kind of icks me out about the Human album a little bit. You know, no matter about this Human song or whatever the song is that, you know, got my foot in the door, I'm just going to continue to make the music that I want to make at the time.
In 2017, a bearded baritone from East Sussex unleashed a voice influenced by soul, metal, hip-hop, and rock and roll greats. It soon became the fastest-selling male debut album of the decade. Its title track has been streamed over 5 billion times, achieved multi-platinum status in multiple countries, and achieved the kind of success that most artists can't even fathom. Fast forward to 2025, Rag & Bone Man is 3 albums in, and his global sold-out tours prove that he has no signs of slowing down. But the music industry has changed. The man behind the voice has lived, lost, loved, and evolved. So today we are going back to the beauty and the burden of that debut record. This is Rag & Bone Man on the record. Rag & Bone Man, welcome back to Australia.
Thank you so much.
You have a Aussie fan that is pretty high up in the film world, in Russell Crowe, right?
Yes, I do.
Are you going to see Russell when you're here?
Well, I think we invited him, didn't we? We did drop him one, but I didn't hear anything back. He ghosted me this time around.
So he sent you a whole bunch of merch and then he ghosted you?
Last time we were here, he called me and he couldn't come to the show and he was gutted. And then because he's like part of a rugby team.
Oh, he owns them. Yeah.
So he sent us like a crazy bunch of like merchandise stuff because he couldn't come.
What a sweetie.
Yeah. It's very nice though.
Yeah. So I know that you've just released a record.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
End of last year. It's amazing and different to your last work, but also makes sense. There's a clear progression there.
Yeah, I think so.
And I want to get into that, but first I want to go back in time.
Okay.
And revisit Human.
All right.
What was happening in your life around the time of writing, like that initial writing phase of that record? What was going on?
Well, I'll put it like this. So that whole album is, to me, when I look back on it, it doesn't really feel like an album because it's a bunch of material that I'd written from about 2012 till that time. Mm-hmm. Because we wrote the song Human in 2015, and I had to be honest, I had no idea that it was going to do what it did.
You didn't even have an inkling of like, this is the game changer.
I thought it was good. I knew it was catchy because I played it to my mum. She liked it. I knew that it was catchy, but I didn't know it would do that. And I think we put it out in 2016 and then nothing really happened. And then we went out to Switzerland and Germany to do these little promo shows. And it was like live on the radio. So they started playing it a little bit on the radio. And then it was just like something happened in Europe. It was like the Swiss and the Germans just like locked onto it. And it was like on the radio every like 20 minutes. And then it just slowly went everywhere else. And before I knew it, it was like #1 everywhere.
8 countries. Oh no, the album was number 1 in 8 countries. Yeah, the album was,
but it was all over the place. I had friends in like New Zealand, in Australia, being like, bruv, I'm on the building site in Melbourne and you're on the radio like every day. And that was obviously prior to the album coming out. So because it was so successful, I had to be like, shit, let's get some songs. And then it was kind of like that, just scrambled lots of songs together. I mean, I liked them, but it was because it was songs from lots of different periods of time. When I listen back to that Human album, it doesn't feel like glued together. It just feels like a bunch of songs.
You're a fan of the concept album though? Like
I
like a cohesive piece of work.
I like that, and that's what kind of icks me out about the Human album a little bit. I like it, but it doesn't feel like an album to me.
Do you know what's so interesting about you? Because I know that you were part of that hip hop collective, the Rum Committee.
Yeah.
And then I was listening to your verse on that song Imposter.
Oh, yeah.
You are a beast of
thank you
an
very
MC.
much. Thank
I
you.
thought your debut album, in my mind, because of those ties and that love of hip hop music, and I know you love so many different genres, was there a point where your debut album could have been a hip hop record?
Well, I guess my debut album really was Wolves.
Yes.
Because
we always say the industry does that thing where it's like, this is the debut.
We said it's an EP, but it's got 9 tracks on it, so it's not really an EP.
Yeah.
So that was really my first album, and I guess when you look at that record, it's very much like the roots of hip hop. It's got like Vince Staples is on it and K Tempest and stuff. It's like, it's pretty hip hop. But then I think the change came when I just started to write. I just started to enjoy writing pop songs, and I was like, I really like this. I really like writing the hooky choruses and stuff. So yeah.
I don't think you could have picked a more perfect pop songwriter to do Human with. And I'd love to know when Jamie Hartman. So if anyone that doesn't know, he has written with the Backstreet Boys. He's written with Kylie Minogue. He's written with Louis Tomlinson from One Direction, Lewis Capaldi.
Yep.
So when did he come into the fold of Human, the song?
Julian Palmer from Columbia. One of the reasons why I signed to a major label deal was because of that guy. He understood the fact that I don't really I'm not one of those guys that does the rounds of like pop writing with everybody.
You're not in the writer rooms.
I just don't like it, and I don't like writing with like new people all the time. So I've got like a real small bunch of people that are my friends who I write with. Do you know what I mean? Because it just feels really impersonal to me that you're meant to go into a room with somebody you don't know and write a song about something that potentially could be quite,
It's
meaningful.
always personal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'd met Jamie a couple of times before, and we liked each other. So we decided to do some writing in this little studio in Brixton called The Dairy. It's a shithole. There's nothing in it. I remember that day going to the guy who ran the studio and saying, have you got a MIDI keyboard? And he was like, I do, but some of the keys don't work. And I was like, so the only thing that I've asked you for today is broken. But anyway, Jamie Hartman is an amazing pop writer. He writes in a way that I can't. I mean, I maybe can now because of him. But he's also very good at, if I tell him no, I don't like that idea, he's not offended.
That's important. With no ego. That's
exactly,
what it is.
But he always comes with that one bit of gold. Do you know what I mean? And it was the same with Giant when we wrote that together. It's that one bit of gold, and that was just the hook of it. And
so he came up with the hook of Human.
100%. We went in and he was like, look, I'll come up with this, played it, and I was like, all right, what bit am I going to write? So I was like, look, I'm not one of those people that can just take a song, and I don't think it had like verses on it, so he just gave me the hook, and I was like, cool, I'll write the verses, I'll write the middle eight, and then it was done.
I think of,
and I have to give props to my record label, because I know a lot of people shit talk about their labels, but Julian Palmer was like, we have to put this out as the first song, and I was like, nah, I've got another one called Skin, it's much better.
Skin is incredible, and all top 10
but
songs
I was like,
as well.
I was like, no, I think we should put that out first, and he just had to be like, no, we're going to put that out first. So he was right, and they sometimes are.
Was that a moment of contention when you were like, it's the first single is Skin, and he said Human?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I love Julian, and I think I trusted him. I was like, you've been doing this a long time. You probably know better than me about this sort of stuff.
Was he also the one that teamed you up with Calvin Harris in the end?
Kind of, in a roundabout way. Yeah. I basically wrote Giant with Jamie Hartman in the same sort of time as I wrote Human. But we never quite knew what to do with the production on Giant, so it got left off the Human album. It was like this strange kind of, it almost felt like a bit Michael Jackson. It didn't really fit, and we just tried all this stuff, and then in the end I just left it, and it stayed on the laptop for like 3 years, and no one heard it. And I think Jamie somehow got it to Calvin through Julian maybe or someone like that.
There's something to be said about making sure that a record is a cohesive listen and everything kind of complements one another, which you've definitely done on you're definitely your last 2 records.
Yeah.
But then also I love that it didn't go to waste.
No.
In the end.
No, I don't. I mean, I did a thing with this last record. Well, twice actually. So the first song you hear on the new album is called The Right Way. And I actually wrote that for the previous album, and I wrote it in like 2018.
Oh wow!
And I'd held on to it for so long, but I loved it so much, and I was like, and that song actually gave me the motivation to make that album like it the way it sounds.
Interesting.
So it's kind of cool like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, it'd be weird holding on to something for so.
I know a lot of people,
long.
a lot of my friends who are producers and other artists are like, they've got songs that they'll never look at again because it's old to them. And I'm like, but
there's something there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a reason that you liked it in the first place.
Yeah.
So don't forget about them.
Agree. I think of the song Human for you in your career as like this baptism by fire in a way.
Yeah.
And the only way that I can understand it is thinking about Dance Monkey by Tones and I, Australian artist.
Yeah.
And did you know that song, like 3 billion streams on Spotify alone, is the most streamed song by a female ever?
Nah.
Like more streams than an Adele song or a Taylor Swift song.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and she's Aussie, right? And
I met her a couple times.
Oh, you two should.
You know how I know that song so well is because my kid plays this game. And it's one where you have to it's like stepping stones on an iPad, and you have to do it to music, and it's rhythmic, and he does it to that song every single time.
Oh,
So
he's the one beefing up the streams.
Yeah.
It's him. So for Tones, she's like you, an incredibly accomplished songwriter,
Yeah.
influenced by many different things, became a brand through Dance Monkey, but also became branded by Dance Monkey. And I think of you in that way, and I wonder, did you feel that way? Like, oh, I'm really just seen as this one song, until, of course, Giant and everything else took off.
I don't think I'm really that bothered by it. I mean, I play that song now, and I'm so grateful for it. So, yeah, I mean, I get builders shouting, "Oh, I'm only human after all," and I think it's funny. You know what I mean? It makes me laugh as well. So I guess no, I don't think so. Is the answer?
It's a good thing. Yeah, but I get the feeling that you're probably just a grateful person.
Yeah, I'm very lucky to be able to play music to people for a job, and I don't take that for granted.
I watched a podcast where you said that the job that you really loved was when you were a carer.
Yeah,
before that.
Yeah, I did.
I'm like, it takes a special human to be a carer, so it kind of tells me a bit about you.
Yeah, that was a sick job.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about that early era of when Human came out. You know, you're on the promo trail, you're touring a lot, you're building and creating a family. I feel like, was Ruben born in the September of that year?
He was born August 2017 in the midst of the madness. I always tell him that.
What was that like?
I was touring in America when he was about to be born, and I literally got home from the US just in time. So, yeah, that was a mad year.
Was that just like a movie, like rushing to the hospital?
Yeah. Yeah, and because how busy it wasn't like I got a long time off afterwards. I was doing shit the few days after he was born, do you know what I mean? So
you meet your son.
Yeah.
You got to run.
Yeah, you do.
What's that like now, raising a family? I saw there's a spoken word part in your new song Hideaway at the start, and you said something like you would rather be on the couch watching, what's the TV show?
Homes Under the Hammer.
Homes Under the Hammer. Yeah.
Do you have that show here?
No, we don't have it, but I can
Shit,
imagine it's
good.
about auctions and selling houses or something. And yeah, I was thinking it might be tough being away from, well, definitely would be tough being away from family.
I think I still wholeheartedly love performing, and I think, to be honest, I think I love it now more than I did when I first started. But yeah, being away from the kids is tough. Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially now they're at the age where they've got their little personalities and stuff, and you know, they're very aware that you're not there. Do you know what I mean? So that is pretty tough. But you know, like, I can take them with me sometimes, and
Yeah.
Ruben and Jesse's my other kid, who's 9, and he's like my stepson, but he's my son. They're still at the age where they think I'm cool. And,
So you're like, we got about 2 years.
I'm under no illusions that is going to run out very quickly, so I want to make the most of it.
Well, I don't. Won't you always be cool because you're famous?
I don't know.
Don't you get cool because, like, surely you get props?
I mean, I think I'm cool, but they in a couple of years, they're not going to think I'm cool.
What kind of music are they into?
Ruben, he weirdly sort of likes a lot of like garage music, kind of really fast paced like garage music. The more like grime and stuff, like the more sort of aggressive, the better. Jesse's actually like he's got a thing for remembering lyrics, and will just come out and sing a Bob Dylan song.
Ooh.
So he's
a lyrics based
He's
kid.
very clever, and it's weird that like he's a lot like me, because I was really good at like listening to a song and instantly knowing the lyrics, and he's like that. He's recently discovered Snoop Dogg, and
You can bond over that.
and it's crip walking everywhere at the moment. So
That's adorable.
I phoned him, I FaceTimed him from LA, and I was like, Jesse, you know you love Snoop Dogg. He's like, yeah. I said, you know, I'm in the place where Snoop Dogg's from, and this is where the crip walk was invented. And he was like, no, Daddy, it wasn't. It was invented at the Super Bowl. And I was like,
Oh, of course, Serena Williams invented it.
I was like,
Yep.
I was like, okay,
Yep.
cool.
They're also
I've
the
been
age.
told.
Yep. It was invented
told.
this year at the Super Bowl
Yeah.
in the Kendrick Lamar performance,
Yeah,
of course.
So
Kids are know-it-alls at that age.
yeah, I don't even argue anymore.
Yeah, of course.
whatever.
Sure. So you're obviously this global household name. Obviously, the reason why you're here is you're doing Blues Fest,
Yeah.
you're sold out tours everywhere. It's just bonkers in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder what that means in terms of the narrative that you had put out there as an artist, and whether you ever felt like that narrative was lost. And I'm thinking of the trolls who I take a lot of issue with, who felt that there was cultural appropriation that happened in your career because you're so inspired by black music.
Yeah.
You also have an incredible baritone voice. How did you navigate that?
Well, I've never shied away from saying that I was very heavily influenced by blues music. Particularly, I wouldn't sing the way I did if I didn't listen to Muddy Waters. I wouldn't sing the way I did if I didn't listen to B.B. King. But I think as long as you pay homage the best way you can, and tell people that, then, you know, it can't be wrong, surely.
And music is what keeps culture alive.
Fuck, Mick Jagger brought blues to England, so,
Yep.
you know.
The Beatles are inspired by rock and roll, all of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All of those big bands, their first songs were covers of blues songs.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Right. I agree. And the losing of narrative, no matter what it is, whether it's trolls in comment sections, which
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. You know, 2 people on the internet doesn't mean people think it.
Of course.
Or whether it's a journalist or a fan
Yeah.
not understanding the art. Is that just part and parcel?
Yeah, of course. Because someone's always going to have their own idea of what you are. Like, so for instance, I was in the Rum Committee, and then I put out some music through High Focus Records, which is very much like UK hip hop. It's popular in Europe, but not much outside of that. Mm-hmm. The fans are very die-hard fans. When I started making like the Wolves record, which was, I wouldn't say like really super pop, but it definitely had like pop choruses and stuff, and you know, there were sort of that way constructed songs. a lot of the fans from back in the day was like, yo, you sold out, man, you sold out. Like, so I was like, I love pop music. Like, why wouldn't I do what I love to do?
Yeah.
And just because you don't like that version of me, it doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Yeah.
So and I feel like that's the same with anything. Someone's got their own idea of who you are. If that doesn't go right, or it's their way, it's like toys out the pram. So,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
I do.
It's like, you know, if your favourite artist starts making music that you're not so into, you're not going to just stop liking them. Like, I'm more into like Dylan's acoustic shit, but you know, because he's done other stuff, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to like Dylan anymore.
Also, when
I'm not comparing myself to Dylan, by the way.
No, I know. You're saying you're a fan of that. As you're talking as a music fan.
Yeah.
I completely agree, and I think that if you idolize an artist, you would understand that there has to be an evolution, there has to be growth based on that.
Yeah.
And also, some of the artists with the longest careers are the ones that have completely changed their sounds. And
well, that's what I wanted to do. That's what I always had in my mind. I was like, you know, no matter about this human song or whatever the song is that, you know, got my foot in the door, I'm just going to continue to make the music that I want to make at the time. And hopefully that means that I'm going to have this sort of long career. I mean, I don't know how else to navigate it, I guess.
Speaking of doors, I was noticing that like all of these doors opened up for you once Human went global.
Yeah,
you know, you've got a tour with Shania Twain, a song with Pink, which you performed on stage with her in front of 75,000 people, collaborations with Calvin Harris. There would just be doors aplenty opening up for you following that.
I've turned a lot of stuff down.
That's what I want to talk about.
Because
How do you know?
I've been offered a lot of corny shit.
So it's the corny stuff you turn down.
And just stuff that if I'm not into it, I'm not into it. And like this, you know, there's been stuff that I was offered that, you know, potentially could have been successful, but it's not the way I see myself. So
you got to tell me maybe like a little hint of what that was. What sector was it in?
No, I can't. No,
I'm not saying you name the brand.
No. But yeah, what I mean is like I basically got offered to do some advertising stuff as well. Like there's a brand for like big guys in the UK that they were like, we'll pay lots of money to be that guy, and I was like, I think your clothes are shit, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
But I actually don't think their clothes are shit anymore, so they've stepped their game up. So if they want to do it now, brilliant. But at the time, it was not the right thing for me. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, I don't know what else I was going to say. I've forgotten. My mind is like mashed potato at the moment.
Yeah, you are doing so well on jet lag, by the way. I'm so impressed.
This coffee is really helping.
I'm so impressed. Well, it is about saying no more than it is about saying yes sometimes. What you say, even saying no can lead to bigger yeses.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was just always important to me that I didn't have anyone telling me what to do musically either. It was like I was sort of in charge of my own ship, so to speak.
I love to hear that, being a major label signed artist.
I signed my deal a bit later on in life, and I was very forthright, I guess, about when I met my label. Was like, you know, I'm not going to do what your other artists do, and you know, I'm going to say no a lot, and they were okay with that. I'm sure they've got very frustrated with me before, but you know, I think you have to be that way. And like, so for instance, there's a thing where people mime on TV a lot, right? You've seen it everywhere. Like,
Top of the Pops
style. But I was like, we've moved on from that. We don't need to do that shit anymore. And if we do it, if we keep doing it and we keep saying, yeah, it's okay, we'll mime, then everyone else will still have to do it. So people have got to start saying no. And I lost gigs because of it.
Really?
But in the end, they said yes, you know? It was like, so, well, you're not going to be able to do it. And I was like, well, I'm still not miming. I'm not going to make these musicians that I love
Yeah.
and who've been on the road with me for like 7 years, I'm not going to stand there and make them mime on TV. That's just not a thing. And they say no, and then we'd have an argument. And in the end, they'd be like, oh no, you can do it, it's fine, we sorted it. So you could always do it, you know.
Yeah, there's always a way.
There's always a way.
There's so many artists that have had like a massive big hit, and then for whatever reason you just don't hear from them again. And
Yeah.
you know, maybe it's burnout, maybe it's the industry burned them out.
Yeah.
So I actually really love to hear that you've been able to be true to yourself and your art through the major label system, because I've seen that system ruin artists before.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have, you know, I've had the conversation with a lot of artists about it, and it seems like there's a lot of bitterness, but I guess, I don't know, I guess I just had the right team or had the right person on my side.
The right team and the right person is everything, isn't it?
I guess
that
all the
gets
labels do the same thing. Essentially, they're the same cogs in the big wheel, but it's just you've got to find the good people in them. And that's why I signed to Columbia in the first place, because of Julian, this Stacey Tang, and Alison Donald were the three people in the label that were just, I was like, these are good people. They're going to look after me, and they did.
Just make sure they stay there.
They're not there anymore.
What?
No.
So who?
No, unfortunately.
Oh, did you move with? Wait. So
No. So I'm not actually with Columbia anymore.
Okay, but you're still working with them?
I'm still working with them.
See, and that's the thing. People don't follow institutions. People follow people.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes total sense. Listening back to the record now, you talked about how you had to kind of scramble to put it together based on other songs, and it didn't feel like what you may have done if you had a bit more time.
Yeah.
Are there major parts that you would have changed, or like in terms of lyrics or the songs or the production?
Yeah, mainly the production, and I think listening back to it now, I hear the way I'm writing songs in it, and I think I would have done everything differently in those songs. But it's kind of cool because it's you at that time. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, some of those songs were written like 2012, 13, and that was when I was only really coming to grips with like writing songs properly. So yeah, I guess they're a bit primitive. I don't know the right word for
Just
it.
reminiscent of that time.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not like mad at them. I just listen to them and they make me laugh a little bit at the words I use and stuff. But
It's probably like when well, not to compare myself ever to you, but when I first started writing and I discovered the thesaurus. And my God, I had someone say, Poppy, like, there's just so many flowery words. Like, what are you actually saying? And I'm like, you're right. Like, you don't.
Yeah.
And I wonder if you saw that in your lyrics as well. Like, I didn't need to try and show people that, you know, I'm great at a metaphor. I can speak from the heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Without pushing too much. Yeah. You got some great lyrics on the new record, though.
Thank you.
Yeah. What's the mountain lyric?
Every hill I didn't die was a mountain I climbed.
Yeah.
It sounds profound.
When did that come to you?
It's probably fucking bullshit.
Was that one of those? No.
No, to be honest though, a lot of the way that I wrote some of this record was like, I go in and I sing stuff, and it's not words. Sometimes, like, I never used to do this, but like it's almost like a freestyle. So I'll just go in and sing stuff until it sounds like something, or until it sounds good, and then I'll kind of fill in the gaps almost, and trying to pick out what I'm almost like subconsciously trying to say. Because like sometimes when you sing stuff and you're like free in the moment, stuff comes out and you're like, oh, fucking hell, how did I come up with that? Or what I don't know what it means, but it sounds good. And so a lot of the writing and stuff, someone's like, oh, that's a really cool line. I was like, that's free. I just made it up on the spot. I don't know what it means at all.
But it must mean something to you, because it's come from the subconscious, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you could probably learn from your own subconscious thoughts there.
We got this new song coming out, and we had to write the lyrics down for it. And it was the same. I freestyled pretty much the whole song. And I went to write the lyrics down, and I honestly don't know what they are. because I'm slightly mumbled them. So one of the lyrics, I had to make it up because I don't know. I genuinely don't know what I'm saying.
What did you end up making it up into? What
I
is
can't
it?
remember. I haven't, but I still to this day can't work out what I'm actually saying in it.
What's the song called?
It's called Time to Love.
And it's not out yet.
It's coming out really soon, like
Oh.
a few weeks' time.
So just released a record less than about half a year ago, and then
put some
on to the next thing.
Already. Oh, it's just, it's a song that I did 10 years ago, and I've been begging not begging, but like I've been asking the producer, Danger Mouse,
Oh my gosh.
if I could use this song on this album. And he was like, oh, it's not really finished, we need to finish it. And then it sort of got forgotten about. And then I was like, oh, how about for the What Do You Believe In album? And he's like, oh, it's not really finished and stuff. So we kind of joked about it for ages. It's just going to be this song that we never finish. And then one day I was like, Brian, I'm going to come to New York. I'm going to come to New York and we're going to finish the song. And he was like, yeah, we should do that. And so we did it and we finished the song.
Oh, how long did it take you?
Like half an hour.
This is all that back and forth
All
chatting
that back
about
and
it.
forth for 10 years.
All
For
you
10
needed to do was
years.
be in the same room for 30
I know,
minutes.
Exactly. But yeah, it's coming out soon. It's very cool. I'm very proud of it.
Amazing. What's it about?
It was about fear, and I think fear of letting go. And the song is called Time to Love because that's the kind of the emphasis is on just sort of letting everything go, and now it's time to love.
So is that personal for you? Like you've gone through fear and you're now at the stage where like it's time to love?
Yeah, I think, well, certainly when you have children, it makes you a less sort of selfish person, I guess, I think. And I think you just see love and joy in a lot of more things than you did before. You kind of have to.
You can see the world through their eyes a little bit too.
Absolutely.
You're like, yeah, bubbles are fucking rad.
Farts are funny.
They are funny.
Yeah.
I say that as an adult
Yeah.
though. I truly
Yeah.
believe that.
Yeah.
What do you think you learnt about yourself over the last, post-human,
Yeah.
post everything? What do you think is the biggest thing that you learnt about yourself?
Oh, well, that's an open question, isn't it? I didn't.
Other than how to songwrite like Jamie.
What have I learnt about myself? Oh God, I don't know. I'm vastly more emotional now, and I don't know why. I have no idea. I don't think it's to do with just. I always blame stuff on kids. It's because of kids or whatever. But like, I'll cry at shit that I'm like watching TV and that stuff that like my missus wouldn't cry at. And like I'm so emotional as a person.
You're in touch with your
But I
emotions.
don't think that's a bad thing.
Also, it's because you're an artist, right? Like you feel things.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. You're made up of different stuff.
different stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Does knowing that you're more emotional, do you feel like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm in touch with my emotions? Or do you feel like, oh, I need to, like, how does it make you feel?
I don't necessarily. I don't think I try and dumb it down. Like,
Good.
it makes songwriting a lot better. Because I think, yeah, just being a bit more open allows you to just. I don't give a fuck. I'll write songs about the most sort of soul-searching things, or the most heartbreak things, or do you know what I mean? Or the heaviest subjects I want, because I don't care.
Good. I interviewed Keith Urban, the incredible
Did you?
country artist.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And he said that he tries not to take things too personally. And
Yeah.
his wife is Nicole Kidman, the
Yeah.
actor. And her response to him was, I take everything personally. I'm a person.
Yeah.
And I loved that because it's true. Like people, it's not about you. Don't take it personally. It's like, we're people. We're going to take
course.
everything personally.
Yeah, right.
That's what makes us special. I only have one more question for you.
Okay.
When are you going to release a guitar album? Because I think you were teasing it a little bit on Hard Came the Rain.
Do you know what? That's a great question, because I was thinking about that the other day. I have a few songs in the bank that, you know, when you revisit and stuff. And it was a period of time when I was making like that song that I'd made a few others in that sort of same vein. And I listened to them recently and I think they're rad. And I really should do something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Collaborate with Pearl Jam.
All right. have you got Ellie's number?
No, I reckon they'd be up for it though.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Well, I've been talking to, I made Nothing But Thieves.
Oh.
They did a remix of a song. We did a song together from my
sick.
Life by Misadventure album. And they're one of the bands I love them. And so I kind of like to work with a band.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Even if it was just like an EP or something, it was just me and a band.
Yeah.
You know.
So not your touring band now, like an actual like rock band.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you so much.
Sabbath, maybe.
Oh, we'd like that. Why not? Like go.
Oh, yeah, no. Sky's the
Go
limit.
to the echelon. Yeah. Rory, thank you so much for sitting down with me. I appreciate it for so many reasons, because I know you're jet lagged. I know you just got in at 5 a.m. yesterday. And I also know that you coming to Australia is a big deal because you bring a big band.
Yeah.
You have an incredible live set that I know you sacrifice a lot on financially.
Yeah, I did, but it's worth it. It's so worth it.
Yeah, because your music is the most important.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.